Tisha, tell me about your hair course at high school. What were you supposed to have done?
I had, um, we covered a lot of things there. We did aesthetics like nails and henna and stuff like that, and she covered a lot of that. Well, not a lot actually. She just taught us how to paint nails professionally. But we got taught braiding. I think that was like one of our first things.
Yeah, that won't work.
No, probably would have, but. We got taught how to straighten hair the right way, so sectioning hair, things like that. So many hairdressers, if they see this, are going to be screaming at me, but that's okay.
Why would they scream at you?
I didn't section anything, and then I just went in with it. Well, I'm doing it the right way because you went in with a comb, and then you cut along the combs when it's straight, but...
You're not doing that?
Well, I am doing that, but I didn't section it, so they're going to be like, why didn't you straighten and section the hair and then wash it first and then cut it while it's wet? Because it's going to be dry, so I kind of want to know what it looks like when it's dry.
Yes, and actually I always get my hair cut dry.
A lot of the times they would. It depends on what the hairdresser is used to.
Yeah, and yeah.
It's also with braiding. A lot of people, like hairdressers who braid hair,
yes,
like braiding hair when it's wet because it's easier to get the sections right and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is what they also taught us.
My hair doesn't hardly even braids wet. It's terrible to braid.
When I go in, they offer you the sink and the hair, the shampoo and, like to give your hair a wash. And if you pass because, you just had the shower in the morning, you go, no, I'll pass on that. So they usually take a spray bottle of water and spray it down because that does make it easier to keep under control and hang straighter. Because if it's curly, it's harder to get the straight line if it's not.
So in your technique there, Tisha, can you explain a bit why you change the angle of the comb sometimes?
When it's you don't just do straight to make it look more natural. You're supposed to also feather it out like this.
Oh yes.
Which is what you do basically last, because
right.
Well, it depends on women's and men's hair, because it also depends what the person wants. If they want it more of a straight cut, then you get a straight cut. If they want it more natural, or like if it's like this kind of hair.
Right. So you're going with the more natural. Was that it?
Yeah. I do that.
Right. I'm just going to go around this way. And how come, Grandpa? How come you're getting a haircut at home? Because you usually have your little barber shop you go to.
Yeah, well, it's COVID time. We're in red lockdown, red zone, which means we should be restricting our outings to essential outings, and haircuts for me aren't essential. I usually only get them seasonally, like every 3 months or so. Where when I was working, you get them quite often more like once a week, just to get them trimmed up. It really doesn't matter anymore, except for comfort level. So I don't like hair rubbing in around or behind my ears or come too long at the front to get in the way of my eyes. So general COVID cut, enough to become comfortable. You did the last one, right, Jane? You did an excellent job on it. I think that was back in April or May.
And Tisha, can you, I know you took a course in your first year of high school, grade 9 course, and this is where your expertise comes from, is that right?
Well, Well, yeah, a lot of it. The other half, well, it depends on the hairdresser or the person who does the hair. Not really hairdresser, but depends on what they like to do. It's not really with hairdressing. There's no really technique to it. It's just cutting the hair and learning what you like to do specifically on the hair. So, yeah.
So I think what I'm hearing is that it's a creative process.
Yeah.
Like as much as about feeling good about it as it is about knowing the technical part.
Yeah.
So you did obviously though focus on the technical use of the instruments, right? Like you.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did a lot of that. It's when you're straightening hair, for example, you're supposed to take the comb, go down into a section, usually at the bottom, but go down into a section and then straighten it like this using the comb so knots don't get tangled up in the hair. But
right.
yeah, so we learned basically those kind of techniques.
Right.
They're really interesting too because you never think it's that technical. You think it's just cutting hair, but it's really
right.
It's like an art form in a way.
Right. Well, you are creating a shape, aren't you? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Have you practiced on your mom yet?
Yes. How many people have you had to practice on then or teach you to actually do a haircut?
None. I do mannequin.
So this is your first.
Kind of. I mean,
that
I cut my own hair, but I didn't take the course or anything.
Right. Well, that's really neat to do with your grandfather.
Your first?